Well, good day, everyone. Welcome back to Grimsgate. Yes, it's been a minute since we've been in here. You are correct, and I am unfortunately all alone today. Kevin is very busy lately with a lot of stuff, so I decided to go in and record this video for you guys because I really want to show what I've been building, and we kind of want to move on with this project here, right? So today, guys, I am building the station interior of our dog ride, which you haven't seen a lot of. You've seen me build the entrance, like the whole big theater building, and then some of the queues, which still need some love, and then we have the pre-show, which you will see in the next video be made, and then we will eventually go back to the whole main street of Grimsgate, or at least working on areas that needs that proper extra hand, because we have a lot of those lately. So what I am doing in today's video is I am making this sort of stage with sitting areas. This is made for particularly so it feels like you're walking into this stage area and you can sort of sit down and you can watch the show. More likely it fits the theater theme. And this is kind of like the Grimlock Theater, so obviously it has to be some sort of pretty, it has to be a little bit posh in a sense. So that's kind of like what I'm doing. So I'm using these the Monsters Coach seat here, which really works well for this purpose here that I'm doing. And then I'm kind of like trying to figure out what it needs and what it doesn't. So as you can see, it's a little bit back and forth, trying to move some things around, trying to get that nice overview, to get that whole perspective of that there's more to it behind here. So that's kind of like the whole vibe I'm doing. I am also heavily inspired by a lot of theaters. Since I went to London a few months ago, I went in and I saw a little bit of stuff and some facades and etc. And it really inspired me to go in and try out to build an authentic, like Victorian sort of rich interior for this right here. And I feel like I did it pretty well. I feel like it's very nice the way everything is kind of like put together, and I found out that I needed a little bit of gold. The gold represents rich, it represents pride, it represents it just represents wealth, and Grimslock was a very rich man, so obviously that is what we need to do. I'm struggling a little bit here of figuring out what kind of ceiling that I want to have here, so I end up doing completely custom ceiling here. And that's actually, it's taking a lot of time to do. So you will see me cut out a lot of things here the more in we go to the build. I just kind of like want you guys to get the vibe of what I'm trying to do here. So I'm trying to close this off, as you can see, so the corners kind of meet together and makes this sort of, they make this sort of where they connect together and it doesn't leave any gaps or spaces between. And then afterwards I am trimming it with another gold piece. So we get like this super, as I said, wealthy, glorious vibe when you enter the station here. We have not done anything whatsoever yet to the specific dog ride. There are a few stages, a few scenes that are showable, but it's not really, because there's a lot of triggering events happening and stuff, and we kind of want to save all these things as a surprise. So what you mainly are gonna watch is the pre-show build, which will probably be next time, a little bit more station build, and probably the last scene here, as it's gonna be here in the last room where you can see the coaster cars are kind of lined up. Those are mainly the sections you guys will see for the dog ride, and then besides that you will not see anything that's going to be made in silence. We kind of like want you guys to be surprised. The only thing we've kind of mentioned is that it's going to involve time traveling, and it's going to involve a lot of steampunk environment stuff, like big machines, smoke, mist, steam, all of it, you know. So yeah, there are lots of stuff happening. But as you can see here, we kind of filled out the entire ceiling here now. So what I'm trying to do now is that I'm trying to find a way to make this look cool, and I kind of find a way to do it here with putting the gold pieces in the corners so they kind of connect, and you don't see the whole gap between the areas where I'm missing out a few pieces. And so I'm actually just trying to like to make these pieces do the job for me, in that sense of like just trying to see where they end up and then just connect it all together. And as you can see, slowly it's getting there. We're cutting over to a little bit of an extra section where we're kind of done with it, and then I'm adding a little bit of orientation, you know, like a little bit of decoration pieces that really adds a lot to the entire wall here, as you kind of like can see. So I'm just duplicating these all the way around too, just making it look pretty, and then hopefully whenever this is done, we might be able to figure out if there's any more needs of placing more decorations around the ceiling here, because we are also going to add a little bit of more stuff towards the ceiling. There's a lot of things happening in this video today. So up here I'm trying to make the kind of sitting area, I want to make it pretty. So what we're doing here is that I'm trying to make stairs that kind of like goes up to it, and kind of make it look like it's authentic and real, and you can actually walk up there and you can sit up there. And I actually try to make it as good as possible by having this sort of steps here and trying to connect them together, as you can see, and it actually works really well. I also put up some fencing, a little bit of more stuff to make it look realistic. I'm also covering up all these things here, and that is also something you guys will just see eventually. I'm not recording all of it because there's 2 layers of it. So just making it look nice, polishing it here a bit, and yeah, that's pretty much what's happening here. And then afterwards we're going over to this section here where I'm trying to like figuring out what to do. How can I cover this up to make it look nice? And I feel like these haunted house panels here are really good for that. So I'm just making it look a little bit pretty here, and it kind of works as soon as I add more and more stuff to it. This one here is just like a little extra detailing. I kind of felt like looked cool here, because then I had a plan of adding some more decoration stuff on it, but I eventually just add some lamps to it, as you can see here. I was just trying to figure out if anything was doable, but eventually it didn't really work out the way I wanted it, so I just let it be, and then afterwards I'm adding some more stuff. So as you can see here, the ceiling is sort of done. This room in here is more or less done with the, like how I wanted it to be. Now it's just all about the detailing and like what do I want to do. As you can see, the other side of the sitting area also needs the stairway. But I do kind of like making it like this, so things can kind of like, you know, move back and right, which is really important in these sort of situations here, where I can go over and I can take another piece from another section, as I do here, and then I kind of like just try to figure out, is this doable? And if it was not, then I have to find another way, which I do here. So I find the Victorian archway, and I kind of like just add them to the arch itself, and after I kind of do that, I'm just like, whoa, that really was a game changer, wasn't it? So some of these things I add the black panels only, just to make sure, or make it look like there's stuff behind it, because mainly this room, you have to think about, this room has to be in the dark, right? So a lot of these things you just want to have like this sort of composition, so it looks like there's more to it in the back. And that's kind of like what I'm doing here. I'm adding a few doors here and there, and then I just add the black panel in the back of some of them to make it feel like there's more to it the more we go. So yeah, as you can see, I'm actually starting to like this build really much. There is a good vibe into it, and it actually feels like a theater. It actually feels like you're walking into this sort of stage, and it's exciting what's gonna happen. So now it's mainly more the detailing, and I was actually just trying to detail this room until I kind of like was thinking, what should I do at the next room, like the room next door, when where the guests are queuing up for. Because we have this annoying metal barrier here, as you can see, and I really didn't know what to do with it at first, but I came up with a pretty cool idea, which you guys will eventually see. You might already have seen it in the cinematics in the start, but it was a really nice idea I thought of, and I will tell a little bit more about it. But as you can see, we're back here for this for the sitting area, where I'm just trying to add some things so you don't see like that there's a hole and that there's a big gap in between them all. We don't want that. So here I was thinking, what if I add this steampunk bit here that Kevin has made? It's usually for flooring, but what if I add it to the ceiling instead? How would that look? And I actually liked it up there, so I just made it stay up there. And I actually just kind of loved the idea of having it there the more and more that I looked at it. So adding these lions here just to get a little bit more effect, a little bit more posh, a little bit more glory in here, and that's kind of like what we're doing, and I really love. As you can see, this room is pretty much done now. I'm just adding this Grimsgate logo here on each side, and then I think we're pretty much done in this room here. So we're continuing. And as you can see here on the left, we still have the queue to work on, but that will be for the next video, where I also will do the pre-show room, as I told you guys. But mainly just doing sort of the same thing here, just trying to following the gold trim all the way around in here. And then I'm doing a little bit of panel work. I add some pictures, add some lights. I add a little bit of cool stuff in here, which really pops up the spot, the place here. And I really like how that turned out to look. Yeah, because it really feels like as soon as you enter this queue here, that you enter something like nice, something majestic. And it really feels like you're about to watch a cool show. That's what I feel like when you walk into here. And after I kind of like add all these sort of other things to this area here, it's gonna look super cool. As you can see, I literally just duplicated and did what I did in the other room in here with the whole ceiling. And now I'm trying to like decorate this this ceiling here in a different way with these sort of decoration pieces here, and it kind of works really well. I feel like it adds so much to the ceiling itself, and then afterwards I give it a little bit of golden trim here, as I did on the other side, and then it's just really just perfect. We're adding also the chandeliers, and afterwards I'm adding some pillars to kind of like be supportive towards the wall, and kind of like add a little bit more to this area here, because I feel like that as soon as I had this red and white panels, I feel like something was missing to the wall. So I kind of like I tried a few things, but these pillars really worked well, and they are also in the queue as well. So it's kind of like you're still into a section you are familiar with as soon as you enter here, but also not. So I really like the whole vibe of that. So as you can see, we have this these iron barriers here that kind of like is the queue, and I was really struggling to figuring out what I wanted to do with this sort of section here. It was really difficult. So what I decided to do is that I took a little bit of ThemeMaker Toolkit pieces, and I made some glass monitors like you see at museums sort of things, some showcase modules, I guess you can say, and I added a few things in there which I will talk about when we get to it. But it really worked well for that sort of section there. You guys, it's really cool. And as you can see, just adding up doing the last stairs to the sitting area too, adding some custom images that I found on Google. I also even went into AI generator thing and kind of like just wrote something like steampunk future rainy day something, and it got me a picture which I added on one of these frames too. It's actually this one you can see right here. It actually turned out pretty cool. It's art, right? It's really cool. You guys should do that if you're just looking for some random pictures you want for specific stuff. Then this is really cool how that works. So now we're getting to the section I was talking about, where I wanted to figure out a way to cover up this fencing here, because I just didn't feel like it fitted it didn't fit here. So what I did was that I took these ThemeMaker Toolkit pieces and I just tried my way around here to see what worked and what didn't. And the more I kind of built this and the more I kind of looked at it, and I was like, you know what? This actually works. This actually looks pretty nice. So that's what I did, and I just added a few pillars here to kind of like cover it up, so it actually feels like it's supposed to be there. And after that, it just voila. I think it's really pretty how these two pieces really worked well together, and yeah, super dope. After I'm just duplicating them, and then afterwards this little area is just gonna be completely covered with all these sort of wooden decoration pieces as you've seen me do, these panel pieces. And on the right side of the booth here, I'm just trying to add a little sitting area that's just supposed to be like for the coziness of it all, pretty much. That's literally just what it is. Just adding, you know, the little bit of extra details and touches to make it look like it's authentic. And then here afterwards we're adding, as I say, a little cozy area with a plant and a chair, and then just have like yeah, a little cozy area. You know, it's nice to have that. So as you can see, as I said, I have been building all these wood decorations all the way around here, and there's some spots that I haven't really filled in with the whole wood panel, because I feel like the whole iron bar kind of works well when you have this sort of wooden structure around it. So that's kind of like what I did. So back to what I kind of figured out was a cool idea, and what I actually thought looked pretty super nice when I was done, was these glass modules here. These kind of like showcase modules where I built like a little glass in front of it, and then I kind of like figuring out what do I want to add in these, because at first sight I was like, okay, this is a cool idea, but what should I freaking add in these? So I went back and forth and I looked through all these ThemeMaker Toolkit pieces, and I kind of found this super dope statue that Kevin actually made for this project that we haven't really figured out a way to use yet. So it's kind of like a statue, and then it's Mr. Grimlock, and I also add some signs, which also you will get to see at the end here. But yeah, I do this, and then afterwards I add some things into it. I also add like our first movie, which is a Theme Maker Toolkit piece. I also use like a old recorder, kind of like a shower for cinemas and theaters. Can't remember the English word for it right now, sorry. But that's what I'm adding in one of them. And then Kevin also made a corset, kind of like a steampunk corset, which actually works super well for the animatronic. So that's also what I'm adding in here. It's actually super dope how that is gonna end up looking. But yeah, as you can see here, we kind of like added the things here now, and now I'm just trying to figuring out what I could add here. Yes, it's a projector. That's what it's called. Exactly. I'm adding this one here, and of course I didn't see that it was moving, so that's why you saw it move in the cinematics. So, but that will be turned off as soon as I get in next time. But yeah, just adding this and adding a little bit of lights too, so you can kind of like see what's in these guys. And then I feel like this whole section here is it's a little bit too wide to each other. I feel like I could add at least a third one. So that's where the corset kind of like comes into place here. And then I also added on a little stage, so they're actually kind of like a little bit higher above the ground here, as you can see here too. Which actually also works incredibly well. Like I actually super happy for this station interior build in general. I think it's probably one of my best station interiors I've ever done, to be fair, in my time playing Planet Coaster. And I also know Kevin is super satisfied on how this looks, and he actually had this super nice vision of it looking like this as well. So it's perfect that we both are on the same path here with this. So yeah, it's really dope. Guys, let me know what you think about this build. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know down below. Give the video a like if you think it deserves it. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support me, you can check out my Patreon and all that stuff below. You can also join the Discord. It's a fun Discord. We are some very nice people in there. Guys, enjoy these cinematics, and I hope to see you guys next time, where Kevin also will be joining us. Have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.